Why is a foot 12 inches long? Hey there, Internet Explorers. Quick question. Have you ever stopped to wonder, why is a foot 12 inches long? I mean, why not 10 inches? Or 13? Or something totally random, like 42 because that's the answer to everything? Who decided that a foot needed to be, well, a foot? Was there a council of ancient shoemakers sitting around a stone table, debating this like it was the biggest scandal of their time? Did some guy with abnormally large feet just declare, this is the standard now, and everyone just went with it? Or was it an ancient conspiracy by early sock manufacturers to make sure nobody ever found the perfect fit? Today, we're going to put our best foot forward, literally, and get to the bottom of this measuring mystery. Let's rewind to ancient times, back when people didn't have fancy rulers or tape measures. Instead, they measured things with body parts. A foot? That was literally just a foot. But whose foot? The guy who happened to be in charge? The tallest dude in the village? The local champion of barefoot running? Honestly, it was a bit of a mess. Imagine trying to build a house when everyone's foot is a different size. Hey Bob, can you pass me 3 feet of wood? Sure. Hands over something wildly different each time. No wonder historical architecture was basically just a game of Jenga with bigger consequences. Now, enter the Egyptians. These ancient masterminds had their own take on measuring things, and unsurprisingly, they weren't winging it. They divided their standard unit, the cubit, into digits, kind of like inches, but based on fingers instead of feet. Practical? Sure. Creepily specific? Also yes. It's almost like they knew some future civilization would be deeply confused by all of this and just wanted to mess with us. Then the Romans arrived, and if history has taught us anything, it's that Romans loved 2 things: conquering stuff and being ridiculously organized. They decided to standardize the foot and, because they couldn't help themselves, broke it into 12 smaller units called unciae. Sound familiar? That's where we get the word inch. So, we basically owe our modern measuring system to some ancient Romans who were probably arguing over how to divide their sandals fairly. I like to think there was one guy in the room who kept saying, but what if we just use 10? And they just ignored him completely. But why 12? Glad you asked. 12 is basically the Swiss Army knife of numbers. It's divisible by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12, which made it super convenient for merchants, builders and toga-clad mathematicians. The Romans also loved their duodecimal, base 12 system because, well, why not be different? Maybe they just wanted to flex their mathematical superiority, or maybe they were just trying to make life slightly more difficult for anyone trying to learn basic arithmetic. Fast forward to medieval England, where measurements were as chaotic as the feudal system. One day it was sunny, the next day everything was measured in barleycorns. The Normans showed up after 1066 and brought the 12-inch foot along with them. Here, England, take this measurement system. You're welcome. Then, King Henry and, yes, an actual king got involved, decided to make things even more interesting. Legend has it that he declared, all right, guys, let's make a yard the distance from my nose to my thumb when my arm is stretched out. Because obviously, when you think of precision measurement, you think of royal face-to-hand proportions. Super scientific, Henry, truly groundbreaking. This worked for a while, but of course, things still varied. Different regions had slightly different feet, making trade and construction a chaotic guessing game. It wasn't until much later, with the rise of standardized systems, that a foot finally became the consistent 12-inch measurement we know today. And because medieval people were surprisingly chill about using a king's nose as the official measuring stick, the 12-inch foot stuck around. But let's take a moment to appreciate how absurd this is. Imagine if modern measurements were based on random celebrity body parts. Excuse me, sir, how many Tom Cruise hand lengths is this couch? Or if we went with Beyoncé hair extensions as a unit of measurement, flawless, but incredibly difficult to standardize. Jump ahead to modern times, and the foot is still around. In 1959, the world got even more precise and officially defined the foot as exactly 0.3048 meters. Because, at some point, someone thought, hey, maybe we should make sure this whole foot thing is the same everywhere. But let's be honest, most of us still just eyeball it and say, that looks about a foot. So there you have it. A foot is 12 inches because of body parts, Roman math nerds, a king's questionable measuring skills, and a worldwide game of let's just go with it. Before we go, here's something to ponder. If history had taken a slightly different path, we might all be measuring things in cubits, barleycorns, or even king nose lengths. And honestly, that might have been just as fun. If you enjoyed this trip through the weirdest rabbit hole of measurement history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more oddly specific knowledge. And before you go, here's a question for you. If you could invent your own measurement system, what ridiculous unit would you use? Drop your best ideas in the comments. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious and keep measuring things in weird ways.